The MSI 2023 writes another win-or-go-home story this time. It is BLG going against Gen.G. We are looking for the contender in the lower bracket finals against T1 to then determine who will go to the grand finals to fight GEN.G for the ultimate goal, to go home with the trophy in their hands.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Here we go again. Let's step into game 1. It's BLG, the LPL second seed, starting from the blue side with Bin on the Jax, Sun on the Maokai, Yagao playing the Talia, and Elkanon on the bot lane on a well-known duo at Zeri and Lulu. And for Gen.G it's Doran playing the Gragas, Peanut on the Vi, Chovy playing the Lissandra, and on their bot lane also a famous couple. It's Xi and Drakon for pace and delight. And after 4 minutes into the game, we see Sun there coming in on a Maokai together with his bot lane as he goes in with the twisted advance into the Bramble Smash on Pace, who's already so low on HP, but also the Maokai has to flash out of the turret aggro. But finally, they take down the Xile. And again it's Sun with the WQ, this time on Chovy, but he goes back in with the Glacial Path into the Frozen Doom at Delight with the Rakan grand entrance, knocks off the Maokai. It's Lissandra Q into the order, and finally Chovy takes down the mighty tree. Once they jungle on the sides of Gen.G and Yagao, he decides to take a ride on the Weaver's wall, cuts off Delight from his teammates, then he unleashes the unrivaled Earth on Peanut, and Elk will take the second kill of the game. We see the dragon slain after 8 minutes by Gen.G. Now it's a dive on Elk there by Pace and Peanut. The Zeri goes into the overcharge mode, but Pace answers back with a Feather Storm, and the kill goes to Vi and Xia. We see Shelly slain there after 9 minutes, and 2 minutes later she will be unleashed in the top lane, where she takes a couple of plates and we go down into the Dragon Pit, and it's secured by Sun. But now Delight makes his grand entrance in the pit, followed by the wall break of Peanut, but the damage is just not enough, and so the Vi will fall instead. Priest is stunned in the Talia, but he frees himself with the Feather Storm into the Flash, and Chovy helps him with the Frozen Tomb, but Tauren just gets sandwiched there by Alkanon and Grey Screen. Only 20 seconds later, it's a leap strike of Bin on Pace, who gets kept alive there only by the Rakan shield, but they immediately return the fire and take down the Jax. After 60 minutes, it's Sun finding Doran there with the twisted advance, followed by the QE of Bin. Doran tries to dash away, but the Brewmaster will be sent back to the bar. And so it's BLG securing the Herald seconds later, while it is Yagao and Chovy trading E's and W's. The Lissandra gets shoved in, has to flash for alive. Pace goes in, takes a lot of damage as well, but it's Delight with the EW at his ultimate. Pace will fall, but Delight takes down Elk and Yagao for a double kill on the Rakan. Until on and the little yodel says, "Showmaster, the stage isn't yours anymore." Gen.G on the bottom right screen, you see they take the first turret, and now it's a 1v1 between Doran and Yagao. Nice ultimate into the Q slow into the body slam by Doran, and Yagao gets solo. He can only stand 1 or 2 more orders, but they won't connect. But instead it's Bin who goes in with the QE, and he saves his mid laner. And on top BLG, they can take the outer turret. Yagao's screen was practically already grey, and he probably thought about what the vendor will have in store for him, but it wouldn't happen. He survives, and now we see BLG, with the help of the mighty Shelly, taking the outer turret in the mid lane as well. Now another leap strike into the counter strike of Bin going in on Chovy. He goes into the Frozen Tomb, but as he comes out, he gets pulled into the death by Yagao with its W, and now he's going with the Weaver's Wall to cut off the escape route for Gen.G. The Gragas can already slain Delight, escape through this W, but Peanut on a pitiful Violet looks at an incoming Grey Screen. And now it's BLG taking the next dragon of the game, the outer turret in the top lane. Now we skip 2.5 minutes and see Gen.G now falling back from the mid lane outer turret, but Chovy's isolated and caught by the Nature's Grasp and buys some time with his Frozen Tomb, because Bin, he teleported into what will be his undoing. And so both teams, they trade 1 for 1 as we see BLG now taking Soul Point, but in return Gen.G the outer mid lane and the bot lane turret, and we go for the Baron Nashor next. 26.5 minutes into the game, Sun and Elk working down the health bar of the Nash, as now Chovy dashes into the pit and tries to keep the Maokai from taking the objective, but that will be in vain. And so he has to take the flash out of it for some tactical retreat there for Gen.G. Pace and Delight exit the river, and the Xia uses a Feather Storm to avoid the unraveled Earth. But then it's Elk with a flash ultimate into the stopwatch, and Bin with another QE who takes out Pace. Doran gets pulled in by the seismic shove into the death. Chovy comes out of his Frozen Tomb to be Grey Screen as well. Peanut also got sent back to the fountain in the meantime, and only Delight survives the onslaught with a little bit of HP, and now BLG, they're going to take game 1, crushing into the base through the mid lane. And it's just nothing for the Elite that could be done with his charming rock-on to fend off the incoming defeat, and so BLG, they will take the lead in the series. Welcome back to game number 2. Gen.G, they're looking to even the series, not playing from the blue side with Doran on the on, Peanut on the Wukong, Chovy picked the Annie, Pace is going with the Aphelios, and Elite completes the team comp with the Tom Kench. And for BLG on the other side, it's Gwen, played by Ben in the top lane, Sun on the Vi, Yagao going with the Ahri, Elk is going with the Jinx, and Arnie supports his team with a Freljord Brawn. On the first scene takes us into the mid lane where Chovy becomes the target to be ganked on. He connects a stun to Yagao, but soon comes in with the Vault Breaker to the Relentless Force, and another REQ will leave Chovy to be taken out by Sun. Battle between the two top laners, it's Doran now going in with his Brittle into an auto attack, knocks up Bin, but he comes back with a flash Q and a back snip, and the on is gone. Into the bot side river we go, where we see Peanut the Vestarian Trickster dashing in on, and even the Ahri charm won't stop him from flashing in and taking out the Braum. And this will lead to Gen.G taking the first dragon of the game at 1.5 minutes later. The first herald goes to BLG, and we go into the top lane, where Doran this time counters the snip of Bin with a searing charge into the Forge God. He knocks up the BLG top lane, and Peanut comes in with a cycling to turn the screen of Bin grey, and now we see Gen.G 3 minutes later taking the dragon. But a couple of seconds later it will be shelling, crushing in their outer turret, and we're on the mid lane, 14.5 minutes into the game, to see Pace with the Graviton Root on Yagao and on, followed by Peanut with a Nimbus Strike into the cycling. On the flash tippers of Chovy and the Moonlight Vigil of Pace will be too much for on. He gets grey screened, and now Ben deliriously going into everybody, trying to trade one back, but he will be slain as well. And now the third dragon of the game after 17.5 minutes goes to BLG, while Gen.G, with the help of Shelly, they take down the outer turret in the mid lane. And now the sweet Rift Lady goes for a second charge, but she will be denied by BLG. Now Chovy gets caught by surprise there by the Q ultimate of Sun, followed by Ben's needlework, and they take out the Annie before the Super Mega Death Rocket reaches its target. And they also tear down the outer turret before Doran a couple of seconds later answers with the tier 1 in the bot lane. But then JG, they lose their tier 1 in the mid lane, and now going for the next dragon. With Chovy with the flash tippers into the Moonlight Vigil and the Searing Forge God. Chovy goes into the Zonyas, and Yagao, he gets knocked up by the Searing Charge of Doran and taken out by Pace. And now Gen.G, they chase down Elk and on. Peanut goes in with the Nimbus Strike into the Cyclone to beat the Jinx into the grey screen at Elite. He follows on with the Abyssal Dive. Now he devours him and throws him into the misery, where Pace is about to take the next kill. And Gen.G, they take out 3, and they take the dragon. Now we see Peanut trying to dash in on Elk, but the bot lane is fire back with the Flame Chompers and the Glacial Fish, and then there's a ferocious Violet coming in with the Cease and Desist to take out the Wukong, and the situation dramatically backfires on Gen.G. Pace gets stunned by the Braum passive, the Super Mega Death Rocket will miss, but Bin, he comes in from the flank, and he collects the Shutdown Gold on the fields, and now he's going for the Tom Kench as well. And he flushes him back into the sewers where he came from, and now BLG, they will take the Baronesha. We go into the bot side jungle where it's 2 fights simultaneously. Yagao goes into the stopwatch, and on the bottom screen it's Chovy coming out of his Zonia's. Doran already low, flashes away, but soon on the Violet already charges its Q to take him down. And with the temple they gain from the death of Doran, BLG, they now take out the outer turret in the bot lane and open up the way through the mid lane towards the base of Gen.G. First they will deny them the soul point, and 2.5 minutes later we see Gen.G now taking the outer turret in the top lane, and we go back into the mid lane, where on gets knocked up by the Searing Charge of Doran. Now rooted by Pace and the Graviton, but Pace himself, becomes the target. It's the Super Mega Death Rocket that flies in, and he barely survives it. But now on the bottom screen, it's Yagao chasing down Chovy, taking the kill and dashing into safety. And now BLG, they can take the next dragon. It's soul point now for both teams. There we go to the Baronesha. Doran gets charmed by Yagao, takes the Everfrost and the VIQ, and now Ben, he lets his needles fly once, twice, and now for the third time. And the screen of the on turns grey. And it's just seconds later as we see Yagao going in with the WQ on Chovy, but he answers back with a mighty beer And Sun goes in as well, but his health bar drops so fast he's already into the Guardian Angel, and now, as he returns, he will be slain immediately, and now Pace goes in with a Gale Force on. But he pulls his unbreakable shield, and he survives until Peanut goes in with the EW, now looking for Pin. But his damage is not enough, he turns golden, and he has to watch the dawn of Alcor. He took out Delight, now Sun, and he's going for Chovy next. It's a triple, he's going for Pace, and he scores the quadra kill on the Gengs. Can you get more excited than this? We see them taking the Baron, losing the 2-2 in the mid lane, but now with the Baron buff there, going for it. They try to break down the base of Gen.G for good. The Inhib turret already falls the Inhib just moments later. And we now go into the bot side river, where Chovy throws the stun Tibbets at Sun, but Pin and Yagao, they go in, and it's engaged, denied there by the team from the LPL, which is now going for the Dragon. It's Dragon Soul for both teams, and this one could tip the scales in this game too. We're almost in smite range, and so Peanut gets to go in, but Sun, he secures the soul for his team. And now Peanut, he's exposed, he will go down that pace, he trades back on. Nonetheless, it's another bloody dawn for Gen.G as Elk and Ben, they take out their whole squad. They get aced by a triple kill of the Jinx and a double kill for the Gwen, and BLG, they march towards the enemy's nexus. They will take game 2 as well, and with it a commanding lead in the series. Because now they will have 3 potential match point games. And we will not waste much time and skip over to game number 3. Here we go, game number 3 and match point game number 1 for the team from the LPL and for Gen.G. They have to face the harsh reality of elimination from this tournament in case that they do not come out of this victoriously. And they are now starting from blue side, with Doran on the Arn, Peanut on the Kindred, Chovy on the Annie, Pace on the Aphelios, and Delight goes with the Thresh. And for BLG, it's been on the Science, Sun on the Vi, Yagao on the Ari, Elk on the Jinx, and On is going with the Blitzcrank. None kills so far, it's the first Dragon slain by BLG, the first Herald goes to Gen.G. And after 9 minutes we see Chovy there taking a stroll off the road right into Sun and On, and it becomes the Sisters Act as the Super Mega Death Rocket of Jinx flies in, and Violet with a cease and desist finish off the Annie. And just seconds later, it's a one-man dive of Doran there, searing charge into the Forge God, and Peanut comes by to collect a kill like it was for the taking. And now again, just seconds later, we see Shelly there pulled in by On under the turret, but BLG, they won't deny her from charging into the outer turret, and we go into the bot side river, where we see Bin there getting hooked by the death sentence of Delight, but there's another hook champion on the other side. The Blitzcrank Q pulls on Peanut, and the Kindred gets sent from Twilight into darkness. Sun goes in, but he will fall as well, and now Chovy's in the stasis, but the decimating smash of Bin sends him back to the base as well, and now they're going for Doran. He's limping away with a little HP, but On with another Blitzcrank hook pulls him into the death, and also Pace won't reach safe ground. It's a double kill for Elk, and now they're going for the Dragon. Second Drake goes to BLG as well, and we go into the bot lane to see a nine-tailed fox there fighting desperately against the looming darkness that wears the name Peanut. But BLG, they will take the outer turret in the mid lane. The next Herald. And we go back into the bot side jungle to see a cow there looking for some revenge on Peanut. Spirit rush over the wall into the foxfire. Peanut can dodge the Q. And now Ben and the Super Mega Death Rocket fly in, but Yagao says, let me have my vengeance on my own. I don't need you. And in the meantime, in the topside river, it's a Hextech Flash of On with the engage now followed by Elk and the Flame Chompers. The Rudy Light, and he also has to take the charm from Yagao, and so they take out the Thresh, but On, he will be traded back in return. Now we see the outer turret on the bot lane falling on the sides of Gen.G, and we go into the top side where they're pushing forward. But with the incoming TP of Bin, they get flanked, and so they're now on the retreat. Peanut flashes over the wall and barely escapes there practically with no HP. The rest of Gen.G in the midst of destruction. Elk takes out Delight. On with the Blitzcrank Q pulls and Doran, but the On will take out the support of BLG, and now Elk going for the double kill. It's a triple and another quadra for the Jinx. And Elk is just so mighty again with the girl from the lanes of Piltover. And we see Shelly taking down the tier 2 in the mid lane and now getting off another charge onto the Inhib turret, and we see BLG on the bottom right screen taking Soul Point. And now it's Delight with a sneaky hook there on Sun, who immediately punches the blast cone, but he will find himself almost against a full squad of Gen.G, and they will take him down, and we go for the Baron Nashor next. Wait, it's Chovy with the stun Tibbers on Yagao. The Ari gets so low, tries to defend herself with the Everfrost and the Q, but she falls to the feet of Pace. As the Lamb's Respite comes in clutch and it keeps alive the whole team of Gen.G, and now they can go for Ben and they take out the Cyan. But the battle for the Baron ain't over yet. Sun goes in with the Vault Break on Delight and Al takes out the supporter. But then the Jinx can only watch her sister getting sent back to the base in return. And we go back into the mid lane, where we see on the Blitzcrank going in with a flash ult, but he just gets obliterated as Chovy answers back with a flash Tibbers. The Forge God passes by as Elk and Yagao, they are now going for Delight, but the Thresh can get away for the moment, and it is Peanut getting low there on the Kindred, but his Lamb's Respite keeps everybody alive until it doesn't. It's a true carnage. Doran falls. Soon finds Delight, but also Yagao is down, and Chovy, he got slain last. Only Pace and Peanut survive, and we see the Aphelios in the bot side jungle there. He flash dodges the YQ. Falls to the feet of the Jinx, but Peanut comes in and takes down both sisters of the build-over lanes. And now the Kindred runs away from a mighty Cyan, but there's a Blitzcrank already back from the death. He pulls him in with a Q, knocks him up with a power fist and smashes Peanut into the gray screen. Just seconds later, it's another power grab by on there, this time pulling Yagao into death and misery, and so BLG, they can take the Baron Asher. They're off to trade it for a dragon, but now you see them with the Baron buff, tearing down the tier 2 in the top lane and crushing into the base of Gen.G. They take out the Inhib turret in the mid lane. And a minute later, we see Sun there getting caught by surprise by 4 members of Gen.G in the bot side jungle. He goes into the stopwatch, but then he takes the shortcut into the respawn timer. But nonetheless, BLG with almost a minute left into the Baron power play, they take down the inhibitor. But then they won't go further, turn their backs to the base, just to come back a couple of seconds later with Ben on the Cyan and the unstoppable onslaught, but it won't find anybody, and so the Cyan is in the midst of destruction there. Peanut with the Lamb's Respite keeps him alive for the moment. Doran goes in with a searing charge trying to fight the backline, but he will get evaporated. The Cyan falls as well. On BLG, they keep on pushing, although they're being outnumbered by 1. But now they turn their backs on 4 members of Gen.G to go to the top side and take down the Inhib turret. And then they disappear into the darkness of the rift. But then they come back 2 minutes later to take down the tier 2 in the bot lane. Then they obtain the mighty Dragon Soul, and now we see on there the Blitzcrank with a cheesy hook on the light. He pulls him into death and destruction. Are we going for the second Baron Asher of the game, where Sun leaves the pit to go for Pace, but he reckoned without Peanut or the Kindred, and they take out the BLG jungler. But on the other side, it's Chovy and the Zhonya's waiting to come back out of the stasis to be sent into the gray screen. And we're just half a minute later to see Delight there with a flash E into the misery. Elk takes him out now. He fires a Super Mega Death Rocket on Pace. He will be kept alive there together with Ben in the Lamb's Respite, but just for the moment the Cyan falls, but so does Doran on the other side. Just 20 seconds later, the Baron's still alive. Chovy with the TP in the jungle, but he's alone now, chased by Sun and the cease and desist. He counters it with his W. Yagao goes in with Everfrost, but he almost got killed by Tibbers. The Annie barely escapes the Violet, but as the Jinx comes in, it will be too much for her. And now finally, the Baron is slain by BLG, and now they're going maybe for the final push in the series. They take down the Inhib turret, and Sunny goes in on the Vi with a cease and desist, trying to find Pace. The Lamb's Respite of Peanut keeps alive everybody for some seconds, but Pace, he will fall. Delight follows. Doran and Peanut almost within the same second, and finally Chovy, the last living member, gets gray screened. It's an ace on BLG. They will take the series with a clean sweep. And so they sent home Gen.G. The LPL second seed defeats the LCK first seed and proceeds to the lower bracket finals, where they will face T1 to fight for the entrance to the grand finals of this tournament.